Taeho looked out the small window of the transport ship. His heart beat fast as the massive space station came into view. Stellar Academy Station was much bigger than he had imagined. The huge ring-shaped structure glowed with blue and white lights against the darkness of space. First human student at Stellar Academy, he whispered to himself. No pressure. 3 months ago, Taeho Kim had been a normal high school student in Seoul. Then the aliens came. The Galactic Confederation had finally noticed Earth after thousands of years watching the stars. They called humans Deathworlders, creatures who lived on a planet that should have killed them. High gravity, deadly weather, earthquakes, and too much radiation. To the aliens, Earth was a nightmare. But Taeho had always been good at math and science. When the Confederation offered one spot in their school program, he had taken the tests without thinking he would win. Now he was here, the first human to study with aliens. The ship docked with a soft bump. Taeho grabbed his bag and joined the line of strange creatures moving toward the exit. Most were much smaller than him. Some floated, others crawled. One looked like a blue jellyfish hovering in a clear bubble. "Watch your step, Deathworlder," said a thin alien with 4 arms and green skin. It pointed to the floor where Taeho was about to step. "That section is only for methane breathers." "Sorry," Taeho said, quickly moving to another path. He checked his translator badge to make sure it was working. "I'm new here." "Obviously," the alien said, moving quickly away from him. A voice came through the speakers in perfect Korean. "Student Kim Taeho, please report to adaptation processing." Student Kim Taeho to adaptation processing. Taeho followed the glowing arrows on the floor until he reached a door marked with symbols. It opened into a room where a tall, thin alien with silvery skin waited. "I am Administrator Pell," the alien said, its voice coming through Taeho's translator. "Welcome to Stellar Academy Station. You are our first human student, so we must make special arrangements." The administrator looked at a floating screen. "Your species requires constant oxygen, correct? And you need higher gravity than our standard settings." "Yes," Taeho said, feeling strange. On Earth, these things were just normal. Here, there were special problems to solve. "We have prepared living quarters with Earth-similar conditions. Your gravity needs are concerning. Your muscles would tear most of our furniture apart." The administrator's large eyes blinked sideways. "And your water requirements are very high." Taeho nodded. "I understand. I'll be careful." "Your class schedule," Administrator Pell said, sending a glowing file to Taeho's tablet. "You will attend regular classes, but some practical exercises may be dangerous for you or for others. Your biology teacher is very excited to meet you." Taeho looked at his schedule. Advanced Mathematics, Xenobiology, Galactic Chemistry, Confederation History, and something called Comparative Environmental Adaptation. Your room is in Section 9, the Heavy Gravity Wing. Your roommate is a silicon-based life form named Clicks. It requested to meet a Deathworlder. Administrator Pell paused. "Are you dangerous, Student Kim?" Taeho smiled. "No more dangerous than anyone else." The administrator didn't look convinced. "Humans can break bones with their bare hands. Your blood contains iron. You drink water, a universal solvent. Your planet's average wind speeds would destroy most civilized worlds." "That's just normal for us," Taeho said simply. "Exactly," said Administrator Pell. "That is why you are here, to teach us what normal means to a Deathworlder. Classes begin tomorrow. Do not be late." As Taeho walked to his new room, he felt the stares of hundreds of alien students. Some moved away as he passed. Others whispered to each other. Earth was the most dangerous planet in the known galaxy. And now, Taeho had to prove that humans were more than just scary monsters from a death planet. He was ready for the challenge. Taeho stood in front of his new room. The door was much thicker than others in the hallway. A sign next to it read, "Caution, Heavy Gravity Area," in several languages. He pressed his hand on the scanner. and the door slid open. Inside, one half of the room looked normal to him: a bed, a desk, and a small bathroom. The other half was strange. Instead of a bed, there was a glowing platform. Crystal formations hung from the ceiling. "Hello," Tai-Ho called out. Something moved in the shadows. A sound like wind chimes filled the room. Then a figure stepped forward. It looked like a person made of blue glass. Light passed through its body, creating tiny rainbows on the walls. "You are the human." The voice seemed to come from vibrations in the crystal body. "Yes, I'm Kim Tai-Ho. You must be Clicks." The crystal being moved closer, then stopped. "Your gravity adaptation is active. I cannot come closer without risk of fracture." Tai-Ho realized there was an invisible line down the middle of the room. His side had Earth normal gravity. Clicks's side had much less. "Your mass is..." Clicks's body changed color slightly, becoming more purple. "Concerning." "Sorry," Tai-Ho said. "I can't help how I'm made." "No apology needed. I requested a Deathworlder roommate. Research purposes." Clicks's body made the wind chime sound again. "You are smaller than I expected." Tai-Ho laughed. "On Earth, I'm just average." Your laugh caused vibrations in my structure. Clicks seemed fascinated. Fascinating. They were interrupted by a soft chime. Tai-Ho checked his tablet. "First class starts in 20 minutes. Advanced Mathematics with Professor Lum." "We share this class," Clicks said. "I will show you the way." The hallways were filled with students of all shapes and sizes. Some walked on walls. Others floated. A few rolled like balls. Tai-Ho noticed they all kept their distance from him. "Is it true humans drink water?" Clicks asked as they walked. "Yes, every day." "Why?" "Water is a powerful solvent. It dissolves many substances. To drink it." Clicks's colors swirled. Most species would consider this dangerous. The classroom was a large, round room with seats arranged in circles. Tai-Ho found a seat marked Earth Standard. It was made of metal instead of the light materials the other seats used. Professor Lum floated to the center of the room. He looked like a small blue cloud with 3 eye stalks. "Welcome to Advanced Mathematics," the professor said. "Today we have a new species joining us. Our first human student." All eyes turned to Tai-Ho. Some students moved their seats slightly away. "Human," Professor Lum called. "Please introduce yourself." Tai-Ho stood up. His chair made a loud scraping sound that caused several students to flinch. "Hello, I'm Kim Tai-Ho from Earth. I'm 17 years old, and..." He tried to think of something that wouldn't sound scary. "I like playing basketball." "What is this basketball?" asked a student with 6 arms. "It's a game where we throw a ball through a hoop." "How fast do you throw this ball?" asked Professor Lum. Not very fast. Maybe 30 kilometers per hour." The room filled with gasps and murmurs. "That would be lethal on my world," said a small green student. "Class," Professor Lum said, "remember that humans come from a high-gravity death world. Their strength is a natural adaptation." Tai-Ho sat down, feeling uncomfortable. Just as the professor began the lesson, the door opened again. A human girl walked in. She had short black hair and wore the same uniform as Tai-Ho. "Apologies for being late," she said, bowing slightly. "I'm Park Jae-yun from Earth. There was an issue with my room." Tai-Ho stared in surprise. He hadn't been told about another human student. "Take the Earth Standard seat beside student Kim," Professor Lum said. Jae-yun walked over, her footsteps heavy compared to the alien students. She sat next to Tai-Ho. "Hi," she whispered. "I'm from Busan." "You?" "Seoul," Tai-Ho whispered back. "I didn't know there was another human coming." Last-minute decision. They wanted to see how different humans interact. She smiled. "Looks like we're lab rats together." Professor Lum began projecting complex equations into the air. "Today we begin gravitational mathematics," he said. Simple calculations that will prepare you for next week's homework. Tai-ho and Jai-yun exchanged glances. On Earth, these equations were anything but simple. The class had just begun, but Tai-ho already felt the weight of representing his entire species. He straightened his back and focused on the floating numbers. He wouldn't let Earth down. The next class was Galactic Chemistry. Tai-ho and Jai-yun walked together, happy to find another human after feeling so alone. "What do you think of the station so far?" Jai-yun asked. "Everything is so light and fragile," Tai-ho said. "I feel like I might break something just by looking at it." They entered the chemistry lab. Unlike Earth labs with test tubes and Bunsen burners, this room had floating energy fields and strange devices. The teacher, Professor Zin, had 4 arms and skin that changed colors like a chameleon. "Welcome," Professor Zin said. "Today we learn about basic chemical reactions. These are fundamental processes that all species should understand." Each student had a small workstation. Tai-ho and Jai-yun shared one labeled Earth Standard. Their station had stronger materials than the others. "First exercise," Professor Zin announced. "Mix compounds A and B to create a stable neutralization. This is elementary chemistry." Tai-ho looked at the 2 clear liquids in front of him. They seemed normal enough. He carefully poured liquid A into liquid B as instructed. The mixture immediately turned bright orange and began to bubble. Tai-ho stepped back, pulling Jai-yun with him. "Something's wrong," he said. The mixture hissed and released a small cloud of orange gas. Several nearby students moved away quickly. Professor Zin rushed over and placed a containment field around their station. "What did you do?" Professor Zin demanded, his skin turning a worried yellow color. "I followed the instructions," Tai-ho said. "I mixed A and B." Professor Zin looked confused. "This is impossible. These compounds are inert. They cannot react." "They seem to be reacting now," Jai-yun pointed out. The class had backed away from their station. Some students were recording the reaction with their devices. Professor Zin studied the mixture. "Wait, what is your atmospheric composition again?" "Mostly nitrogen and oxygen," Jai-yun said. "About 78% nitrogen, 21% oxygen." The professor's skin turned pale blue. "Oxygen. You breathe oxygen as a gas." "Regularly?" "Yes," both humans said together. "Class," Professor Zin announced, "we have a learning opportunity. These compounds are indeed inert in most atmospheres, but they react strongly with oxygen, which humans breathe." He turned to the humans. "Oxygen is highly reactive and corrosive to most materials. It's considered a dangerous substance in pure form." "But we need it to live," Tai-ho said. A small green student with 6 eyes raised a tentacle. "Professor, if they breathe corrosive gas, what do they drink?" Tai-ho looked at Jai-yun. She shrugged. "Water," Tai-ho said. "H2O." The classroom erupted in shocked whispers and clicks. "Silence," Professor Zin called. His skin was now bright purple with orange spots. "Yes, humans consume the universal solvent as their primary liquid. Their biology is adapted to it." A floating student that looked like a cloud of pink mist drifted closer. "Is it true that humans have iron in their blood?" "Yes," Jai-yun answered. "Our blood is iron-based." "They carry metal inside them," whispered one student to another. "Actual metal." Professor Zin created a new containment field around the human station. "We will need to modify all chemistry exercises for our Earth students. Their biology creates variables we did not anticipate." After class, Tai-ho and Jai-yun walked to the dining hall. "I didn't expect oxygen to be such a big deal," Tai-ho said. "Or water," Jai-yun added. "Everything that's normal for us is weird to them." The dining hall had separated sections for different species. The human section was isolated from others, with signs warning about oxygen atmosphere and higher gravity. They sat down with their food, specially prepared Earth-style meals that looked like standard rice and vegetables. I feel like we're in a zoo, Jai-yun said quietly. Look at the bright side, Tai-ho replied. At least we get our own space. No one bumping into us. A small alarm sounded on their tablets. It was time for mathematics homework. Professor Lum had assigned them equations about gravity and planetary physics. These look easy, Jai-yun said, looking at the equations. We learned this in middle school. I think that's the point, Tai-ho said. They're giving us simple work to help us adjust. But as they began working on the problems, they realized something wasn't right. The equations assumed perfect conditions, constant gravity, no atmospheric interference, perfectly spherical planets. This isn't how it works on Earth, Tai-ho said. Not even close, Jai-yun agreed. Should we tell them? Tai-ho thought for a moment. Let's do it their way first. Then we'll show them our way. Neither knew that their easy homework was about to change everything. The next day, Professor Lum floated at the center of the mathematics classroom. His blue cloud-like body pulsed with light as he spoke. Today, we will discuss your homework assignment in detail, he said. These gravitational equations represent basic planetary physics that all educated beings should understand. Tai-ho and Jai-yun sat at their reinforced desks. They had both completed the homework but felt unsure about their answers. The assignment asked you to calculate the gravitational pull at different points on a planet's surface. Professor Lum continued. This is elementary mathematics for space travel. A student with 4 arms and green skin raised one hand. Professor, I have a question about problem 3. It seems too simple. The answer is clearly 9.2 units. Correct, student Mix, Professor Lum said. The gravitational force on a perfectly smooth, non-rotating planet of uniform density is easily calculated. Tai-ho looked at Jai-yun. They had both written much more complex answers for that problem. Jai-yun raised her hand. Professor, we approached the problem differently. On Earth, gravity isn't uniform across the surface. The classroom went quiet. Professor Lum's eye stalks turned toward her. Explain, he said. Earth's gravity varies depending on where you are, Jai-yun said. It's stronger at the poles than at the equator because Earth isn't a perfect sphere. It bulges at the middle due to rotation. Also, Tai-ho added, the density of Earth's crust varies. Mountains and deep ocean trenches affect local gravity, and Earth's core isn't centered perfectly. Professor Lum floated closer to them. These are advanced considerations for specialized calculations. For basic planetary physics, we assume ideal conditions. But that's not realistic, Jai-yun said. No real planet is perfect, especially not Earth. Our homework shows the calculations both ways, Tai-ho explained. The simple way and the Earth way. Professor Lum examined their work. His cloud body darkened slightly. This is unexpected, he said. You've added variables for tectonic plate movement, atmospheric pressure changes, and even local mineral density. That's how we learned it, Jai-yun said. Earth science accounts for these things. A new student entered the classroom. He was human, a boy with short black hair wearing the same uniform as Tai-ho and Jai-yun. He bowed to Professor Lum. I apologize for being late. I am Sung Min, the 3rd exchange student from Earth. My transport was delayed. Professor Lum's eye stalks quivered. Another human. 3 Deathworlders in one class. 3 is better than 2, Jai-yun whispered to Tai-ho. Less pressure on us. Sung Min took the 3rd Earth Standard seat. He looked at the homework displayed on the main screen. Oh, gravity calculations, he said. Did you account for tidal forces from the moon? That changes Earth's gravity slightly throughout the day. Tai-ho nodded. And seasonal variations. The alien students were staring at them with various expressions of confusion. Professor Lum hovered silently for a moment. Then he addressed the class. It seems our Earth students have a different approach to what we consider basic physics. For tomorrow, I want everyone to review the human solution to problem 3. Try to understand their methodology. After class, the 3 humans gathered in the station's common area. It was designed for all species, with different gravity zones and atmospheric bubbles. So you both had the same issue with the homework? Sungmin asked. Yes, Taiho said. They think planets are perfect spheres with uniform gravity. Their worlds might be like that, Jae-yun suggested. Maybe they come from planets with no plate tectonics, no big moons, and less internal activity. Earth is chaotic compared to most habitable planets, Sungmin agreed. That's why they call us Deathworlders. Taiho looked at his tablet. Professor Lum sent a message. He wants us to prepare a short presentation explaining our approach to the homework. This could be interesting, Jae-yun said. We'll show them how Earth scientists really think. Should we tell them about weather affecting measurements too? Sungmin asked with a smile. Taiho grinned. Let's show them everything. The full Earth experience. Little did they know, their easy homework was about to become a revelation for the entire Academy. The Academy's common area had zones for all types of species. The humans chose a table in the Earth gravity section. Around them, alien students floated, crawled, or glided through their own atmospheric bubbles. Let's make our presentation simple but effective, Taiho said, looking at his tablet. Jae-yun nodded. We need examples they can understand. Sungmin was drawing diagrams on his tablet. How about we show them these gravity maps of Earth? The colors show how gravity changes in different places. A small group of alien students had gathered nearby, watching the humans with curious eyes, stalks, and sensors. One of them, a floating purple blob named Zix, moved closer. May I ask a question? Zix's voice bubbled through a translator. Why do you make simple physics so complex? It's not that we make it complex, Taiho explained. Earth itself is complex. But all planets follow basic rules, Zix said. Gravity pulls toward the center. The force decreases with distance squared. These are universal laws. The laws are universal, Jae-yun agreed. But planets aren't uniform. More alien students joined the group. Clicks, Taiho's crystal roommate, shimmered nearby. Perhaps the humans could explain with an example, Clicks suggested, chimes ringing softly. Taiho picked up a round fruit from his lunch tray. Pretend this is a planet. In your homework, you treat planets like this. Perfectly round, smooth, and the same all the way through. He put the fruit down and pulled up an image of Earth on his tablet. But Earth looks more like this. The image showed mountains, oceans, and the slightly flattened poles. Earth spins, which makes it bulge at the middle, Sungmin added. And inside, it has different layers with different densities. A tall, thin alien with 6 eyes blinked rapidly. But these differences must be tiny. Why bother calculating them? Because they matter, Jae-yun said. If you're launching a satellite, or predicting ocean tides, or tracking the movement of the continents, you need accurate numbers. Your continents move. Ask the small green student with 4 arms. All the time, Taiho said. Earth's surface is broken into pieces called tectonic plates. They float on the hot mantle beneath and move very slowly. The alien students looked shocked. Some made sounds that might have been gasps. Your planet is broken, Clicks asked, colors swirling in distress. Not broken, Sungmin explained. Dynamic. Earth changes constantly. We have earthquakes when the plates rub against each other. Volcanoes where one plate slides under another. This sounds incredibly dangerous, said Zix. That's normal for us, Jae-yun said with a smile. We've learned to predict these changes and live with them. Taiho noticed that more aliens had gathered around their table. Even some teachers were listening now. Show them the weather variations, Sungmin suggested. Taiho pulled up more images. Earth's atmosphere also affects our measurements. Air pressure changes with altitude and weather. Storms create their own gravitational effects. Even the moon pulling on our oceans changes local gravity readings. A student that looked like a ball of light dimmed slightly. How do you calculate anything accurately with so many variables? That's why we developed better math, Jai Yun explained. We use statistical models, complex calculus, and computer simulations. For us, your homework had too few variables, some men said. The answer seemed too simple. Professor Lum floated on the edge of the crowd. His blue cloud body pulsed with interest as he listened. I believe, he said, his voice carrying across the room, that we have much to learn from our human students. Tomorrow's class will be most enlightening. As the alien students drifted away, still talking among themselves, Taeho looked at his friends. I think we're changing how they see us, he said quietly. And how they see the universe, Jai Yun added. Sung Min grinned. Not bad for our first week of school. What had started as simple homework was becoming something much bigger, a bridge between different ways of thinking about the universe. The next day, the classroom was packed. Extra alien students and teachers had come to watch the humans' presentation. Professor Lum floated at the edge of the teaching space, his blue cloud form pulsing with excitement. Today, he announced, our Earth students will demonstrate their approach to gravitational calculations. I believe we may all learn something valuable. Taeho, Jai Yun, and Sung Min stood at the front of the class. Behind them was a large screen ready for their presentation. Thank you for coming. Taeho began. We want to show you how Earth scientists think about planetary physics. Jai Yun stepped forward. But instead of just telling you, we thought it would be better to show you. Sung Min held up a small device. We asked permission to use the simulation chamber. Professor Lum has agreed. The class moved to a large round room down the hall. The simulation chamber was designed to create realistic environments from across the galaxy. The walls, floor, and ceiling could project solid-looking images and even simulate different gravity levels. We've programmed several Earth scenarios, Taeho explained as the students found places to stand or float. First, we'll show you what a normal day on Earth is like. The room darkened. Then, suddenly, they were standing on a green hillside. The sky was blue, with white clouds moving slowly. Trees swayed in a gentle breeze. This is a calm day in Korea, where we're from, Jai Yun said. Notice the wind moving the trees, the clouds changing shape, the small animals in the grass. The alien students watched with interest. Some moved closer to examine the details. Now, Sung Min said, let's show you why Earth calculations need to account for change. The sky darkened. Wind began to blow harder. Rain started to fall, first lightly, then in heavy sheets. The alien students moved back in alarm. This is a typical storm, Taeho explained as thunder rumbled. We get these regularly on Earth. The air pressure drops. Wind speeds increase. Water falls from the sky. Water from the sky, gasped the small green student. The universal solvent falls on you. Yes, Jai Yun said simply. We call it rain. The simulation changed again. Now the ground shook beneath them. Several alien students lost their balance, one crystalline being made a high-pitched sound of distress. This is a small earthquake, Sung Min explained. The ground moves as tectonic plates shift. This changes the local gravity slightly. This happens often, Professor Lum asked, his blue form darkening with concern. Small ones happen daily, Taeho said. Larger ones less often. The simulation changed once more. Now they stood on a beach. Waves crashed on the shore, moving in and out rhythmically. These are tides, Jai Yun explained. The moon's gravity pulls our oceans, creating regular patterns of high and low water. This affects our gravity calculations too. Clicks, who had been watching silently, moved forward. Your world changes constantly. How do you survive such chaos? We adapt, Taeho said, and we learn to predict the changes. The simulation switched to a final scene. A classroom on Earth. Human students were working on equations, using computers and paper. This is how we learn physics on Earth, Sung Min explained. We account for all these variables. Our equations must work in a changing world. Professor Lum floated to the center of the room. I begin to understand why the humans found our homework too simple. They live in conditions that require more complex mathematics. A tall alien with multiple eye stalks raised one thin arm. But how can they solve problems with so many variables? The calculations would be endless. That's where human mathematics gets interesting, Jia-Yun said with a smile. She pulled up their homework on the main screen. The equations were far more complex than what Professor Lum had assigned, with multiple variables and correction factors. This isn't advanced math for us, Taiho explained. This is what Earth students learn as basics. We have to understand complex systems just to predict tomorrow's weather. The room was silent as the alien students and teachers studied the human equations. I believe, Professor Lum said finally, that we have much to learn from our Deathworlder friends. As they left the simulation chamber, Taiho noticed the alien students looking at them differently, not with fear, but with a new respect. News of the humans' demonstration spread quickly through Stellar Academy. By the next day, teachers from other classes were asking Taiho, Jia-Yun, and Sungmin to explain Earth mathematics. I never expected to become famous for homework, Taiho said as they walked to a meeting with the Academy Science Council. It's not about the homework anymore, Jia-Yun replied. It's about how humans think differently. The council chamber was a large round room with seats for all types of beings. At the center was Director Kell, a tall, thin alien with silver skin and 4 arms. Next to him sat Professor Lum and several other teachers. Welcome, Earth students, Director Kell said. We have asked you here to discuss your mathematical approaches. Sung Min bowed slightly. We're happy to share what we know. Your methods have caused quite a stir, Director Kell continued. Many of our teachers believe your approach to complex systems could benefit our entire curriculum. Professor Zin, the chemistry teacher, stepped forward. His skin changed to an excited orange color. Your demonstration explains why our chemistry experiment reacted unexpectedly, he said. Earth's reactive environment has taught you to account for more variables. That's true, Taiho said. On Earth, we always have to think about what might change or go wrong. A new teacher floated forward. She looked like a cloud of golden dust. I teach spatial navigation, she said. Your methods for calculating changing gravity fields could improve our space travel efficiency by 23%. Director Kell raised one of his 4 hands. This brings us to our proposal. We would like you to help develop a new course, Deathworld Mathematics. The 3 humans looked at each other in surprise. You want us to teach? Jia-Yun asked. Not exactly, Director Kell explained. We want you to work with our teachers to create learning materials. Your homework has shown us that we may be approaching problems too simply. We've always assumed that stable conditions are normal, Professor Lum added. But in the wider universe, change and chaos are common. Your Earth methods may be more useful than our traditional approaches. Taiho felt a strange mix of pride and responsibility. We're just students. We know basic Earth math, but we're not experts. Yet you solved problems our advanced students found challenging, Director Kell said. Your basic knowledge is valuable to us. Sung Min nodded slowly. We'll help however we can. Over the next few days, the humans worked with teachers from different departments. They explained how Earth scientists handled problems involving multiple changing variables. In the common area, Taiho noticed that other students now approached them with questions. The fear was gone, replaced by curiosity. Is it true that humans use math to predict earthquakes? Asked a small green student. We try, Taiho explained. We're not perfect at it yet, but we can often give warnings. Clicks, who had become a good friend despite their different natures, joined them at their table. I have been studying your weather prediction models, Clicks said, chiming softly. The statistical approaches are fascinating. My people never developed such methods because our world has no weather. No weather at all? Jia-Yun asked. Our atmosphere is perfectly still, Clicks explained. There is no need for complex predictions when nothing changes. That sounds peaceful, Sung Min said. Perhaps, Clicks replied, colors shifting thoughtfully. But without challenges, we never developed the mathematics you did. Your chaos pushed you to greater understanding. Professor Lum floated over to their table. Good news, Earth students. The Council has approved the new course. Starting next week, advanced students can study Deathworld mathematics as a special topic. That was fast, Tai-Ho said, surprised. Your methods have already helped solve 3 long-standing engineering problems, Professor Lum explained. When applied to our space station's gravity regulation system, your equations improved efficiency by 17%. As the professor left, Jai-Yun smiled at her fellow humans. Not bad for our first month at school, she said. Our easy homework changed their whole way of thinking. It makes you wonder, Tai-Ho said, what else we take for granted that might be special to Earth. What had started as a simple assignment had become something much bigger, a bridge between different ways of understanding the universe. The main hall of Stellar Academy was filled to capacity. Students and teachers from every department had come to see the special presentation. Even beings from other nearby stations had traveled to attend. The hall had been divided into different atmospheric zones, so all species could breathe comfortably. Tai-Ho looked out at the crowd from behind the stage. I didn't expect so many people. Word has spread beyond the academy, Professor Lum said, floating beside him. Your Earth mathematics has created quite a stir in academic circles. On stage, Director Kell was introducing the event. Today marks a significant moment in Confederation education. We welcome you to the first symposium on Deathworld mathematics. Jai-Yun adjusted her uniform. No pressure or anything. Just imagine they're all wearing funny hats, some men suggested with a smile. Director Kell raised his 4 arms for silence. Please welcome our Earth students who will present Elementary Earth Mathematics, How Chaos Drives Innovation. The 3 humans walked onto the stage. The lights dimmed slightly, and a large display screen activated behind them. Thank you for coming, Tai-Ho began. We're still surprised by all the interest in our homework. Today we'll explain why humans approach problems differently, Jai-Yun continued. It all starts with Earth itself. The screen showed a beautiful image of Earth from space, blue oceans, and swirling white clouds. This is our home, some men said, a world that never stops changing. For the next hour, the humans explained how Earth's dynamic nature had shaped human thinking. They showed examples of weather prediction models, earthquake forecasting, and ocean current calculations. What seems complex to you feels natural to us, Tai-Ho explained. Human children learn about changing systems from their first day. Jai-Yun showed videos of Earth children splashing in puddles after rain, building sandcastles that waves washed away, and flying kites in changing winds. We play with chaos, she said. We learn to expect the unexpected. Some men demonstrated some of the mathematics humans had developed. The equations filled the screen, showing how Earth scientists accounted for dozens of changing variables. This is not advanced math for us, he emphasized. This is what teenagers learn. The basics. A tall, tentacled alien raised 1 limb. How young are humans when they begin understanding statistical variance? Around age 10 or 11, Tai-Ho answered. When they learn about weather forecasting or sports statistics. Remarkable, the alien commented. Our species doesn't introduce statistical concepts until university level. The questions continued for another hour. The humans answered as best they could, sometimes surprised by how concepts they took for granted seemed revolutionary to the aliens. One final demonstration, Jai-Yun said toward the end. We'd like to show how human mathematics applies to space travel. The screen displayed a simulation of a spacecraft trying to land on a planet with changing weather and shifting gravity. Standard Confederation navigation would fail in these conditions, some men explained. But Earth landing systems are designed for exactly this chaos. The simulation showed the spacecraft adjusting constantly, using predictive algorithms to compensate for sudden changes. It landed safely despite storm winds and ground tremors. This is how we think, Taeho concluded. Not because we're smarter, but because our world forced us to adapt. What you call complex, we call Tuesday. The hall erupted in sounds of approval. Clicks, hums, flashing lights, and even some alien approximation of applause. After the presentation, beings from across the Confederation approached the humans. Some offered research partnerships. Others wanted to discuss possible applications of Earth mathematics to their own worlds. I think we've started something big, Jae-yun said as they took a break from the crowd. All because of homework that was supposed to be easy, Taeho added with a smile. Professor Lum floated over to them. The Academic Council has reached a decision, he said. Earth mathematics will become a standard part of advanced education throughout the Confederation. Some men looked surprised. That was fast. When something is clearly valuable, we do not hesitate, Professor Lum replied. Your different perspective has already solved problems we've struggled with for decades. What had begun as a simple assignment had become a revolution in galactic thinking, and it had all started with homework that was supposed to be easy. 3 months had passed since the humans' first mathematics assignment. The end of the semester had arrived, and Stellar Academy Station was busy with students preparing to return home for break. Taeho stood by the large viewing window in the common area, looking out at the stars. Earth was out there somewhere, though too far to see from here. Thinking about home? Jae-yun asked, joining him at the window. A little, Taeho admitted. I miss real rain and wind. And food that isn't made in a machine, some men added as he walked up. The 3 humans had become close friends during their time at the academy. Together, they had changed how the Confederation viewed humans and Earth. Did you see the new curriculum for next semester? Jae-yun asked. 3 new classes on Earth mathematical models. Taeho nodded, and they've asked 10 more human students to join the exchange program. Clicks glided toward them, crystal body catching the starlight. Friends, I came to say goodbye before your departure. We'll be back after break, Taeho said. Are you going home too? Yes, I will tell my people about what I've learned from humans. Clicks chimed softly. Many did not believe Deathworlders could be so thoughtful. Just don't tell them how messy our rooms are, some men joked. Director Kell approached the group, his silver skin reflecting the room's lights. Earth students, a moment please. The humans turned to face the Academy Director. The Confederation Education Council has sent a message. Director Kell said, they are most impressed by the Earth mathematics program. They wish to expand the exchange in both directions. Both directions? Jae-yun asked. Yes. Not only will more humans come here, but Confederation students will begin study programs on Earth. The humans looked at each other in surprise. Is that safe? Taeho asked. Earth conditions are harsh for many species. Special environments will be created, Director Kell explained. The Council believes it is important for our students to experience the, what did you call it? The chaos that shaped human thinking. Professor Lum floated over, his blue cloud form pulsing gently. I have volunteered to lead the first research team to Earth. I wish to observe your weather patterns firsthand. From a safe distance, I hope, some men said with a smile. Of course, Professor Lum agreed. I have no desire to experience your rain personally. Taeho looked around the common area. Many alien students who had once avoided the humans were now coming to say goodbye. Some asked for help with Earth math problems. Others wanted to learn more about human culture. It's hard to believe this all started with homework, Taeho said quietly. The simplest things often lead to the biggest changes, Director Kell replied. Your perspective has been valuable to us all. An announcement chimed through the station. The transport ship to Earth was preparing for departure. As the humans gathered their things, Professor Zin hurried over, his skin shifting through excited colors. Before you go, he said, I wanted to show you this. He held up a small device. Using your chaotic weather prediction models, we have improved our space storm forecasting by 200%. That's wonderful, Jae-yun said. Yes, Professor Zinn agreed. And it was all because you showed us how to think differently. The three humans boarded the transport ship with mixed feelings, happy to be going home, but knowing they would miss the academy and their new friends. From the ship's window, Tai-Ho watched the station grow smaller. He thought about how much had changed. When they first arrived, they were just strange creatures from a dangerous world. Now they were respected for the very things that made them different. Next semester will be interesting, Jia-Yun said, sitting next to him. I wonder what other easy assignments will surprise them. Whatever it is, Tai-Ho replied, I'm looking forward to it. As the ship accelerated toward Earth, Tai-Ho smiled to himself. The universe was vast and full of different ways of thinking. But sometimes the most valuable perspectives came from the most unexpected places, even a small blue planet that other species called a Deathworld. And it had all started with a simple homework assignment that wasn't so simple after all. The end.